All right, here's a quick overview for slides number 6. This one's a little bit longer, and it's going to go over writing the equation of a line, slope-intercept, point slope, and matching graphs with word problems. So for the first section, all you're going to do is you're going to identify the slope and the y-intercept. So a couple quick reminders. So equation of a line, y equals mx plus b. So m is your slope in terms of like rise over run. So like in terms of actually looking at the graph. And your y-intercept is like your starting point. Usually we refer to this as starting on the y-axis. And if you're given a table of values, this would be your starting value when x is equal to 0. So a quick overview if you're looking at a graph. If you're looking at this first one, well, if you were to count how many did you rise and how many did you run to get there. So in this case, I went down 2 and over 4. But what's 2 over 4 reduced? So 2 over 4 reduced would be 1/2. So the slope of this would be negative 1/2, which should be over in the boxes. And then what is the starting point on my y-axis, which would be 8. So those ones are very basic. If you were given a table of values, so you need to look at what is changing. So how are my x values changing and how are my y values changing? So I made up a different example. So from 0 to 2, from 2 to 4, from 4 to 6, those are all going up by 2. That's your run. And then 4 to 8, 8 to 12, 12 to 16, those are all going up by 4. So your rise over your run would be 4 over 2, which would decrease, which would just be 2. So positive 2 is your slope because obviously the values in your table are increasing. Your y-intercept is basically what is your value when x is equal to 0. So when x is equal to 0, your y value is 4. That's your y-intercept. So my equation, my line would be y equals 2x plus 4. If you are having trouble finding the matches, if you think that your equation is right, you should be able to plug in your input and get your output. So that's that page. In terms of word problems. So the word problems are going to be very straightforward. Most of them are talking about like what is the initial amount you started with or what is your initial deposit. That would be your starting value, which would again be your y-axis or where it hits your y-intercept or when your x's value is 0. So I made up another example. So if we were talking about this guy and we were talking about money being put into your checking account. Okay, so you can see that we're starting our graph at 40. So that is my initial deposit is $40. To figure out your weekly deposit, you need to figure out the slope. So if you look at my slope, I went up 10 per 1 week. Make sure you pay attention to the scale because that's going to make a difference. So my weekly deposit was $10 per week, which means that my equation of my line would be 10x plus 40. So like for this guy, his initial amount was 20, but you need to go up. He went up $30 over 4 weeks. So it's $30 divided by 4. That's going to be how much your slope is. So you're going to type those in the boxes. The last section is a quick overview of point slope form. So remember, point slope form is y minus y1 equals m, x minus x1. So I made up it. I did actually one of the examples that was off of your slides. So if your slope is 3/4 and your point is 413, what you're supposed to do in the slides is you're supposed to find which one of these would match up with this information. So there's only 5 of them. So in this case, you just plug it into point slope. So again, the points that you were given, the 4 and the 13, are your x1, y1, and you plug those in. All you have to do is just distribute and solve for y. So in this case, I got 3x plus 10, or 3/4 x plus 10. So then you should be able to find that. So take a look at that for a second. You should be able to find that on the slide. So then you're just going to drag and drop that into the right segment. And then, and then the last one is it kind of just putting it all together. So you're just figuring out who has the correct equation to match your graph. So in terms of this, what is your initial deposit? So my initial deposit is 40, which is the case for all of these. For all of these, you just need to find the slope to find the equation that's correct. This guy, you can just sort of find the slope between these 2 points. So just do rise over run and divide them to find that one. And then this one again is more basic because you can see it from the table. Your starting value is -10, which means that probably this one is the right answer, but you probably should check it. And then again, your exit ticket can be found here, but the links are also on Google Classroom. Thanks guys. Email with any questions.